Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is a very raw video I'm doing, but as you can see with the title, UX 2.0 is the title, which means what are the changes that have been made to the actual definition of UX design, how people now perceive it, and what is expected from a UX UI designer in 2021 and moving forward as well. So we'll be going through 5 slides here, and I'll be taking you through all the additional changes that have been made to its definition. Today's video was only made possible because of Around, which is a really cool app I'll be talking about later on. Now here, as you can see, UX 2.0. Why am I calling it that? Well, because UX 0.0 was the first edition when Apple kind of, brought in apps and designs on their systems. And that is where the father of UX design, which is Don Norman, came about, and he coined the term UX. Since then, the fundamentals of the practice, of the UX design practice, hasn't really changed that much. But what is expected from a UX UI designer and how it is perceived has changed a lot. So UX 2.0 is what we're calling it. Let's move on to slide number 2, where we are talking about a little thing. I'm just gonna make this window of mine smaller. Oops. A little thing called UX is somewhat similar or around UI. And why do we call it? Because now UX and UI are fundamentally the same activity. When we say a UX designer, we have all the UX design processes, the design thinking process in mind. And a huge part of the design thinking process is UI design itself. Yes, it's true. The first 2 to 3 steps in the design process are generally UX. And after that, it's mainly UI design and testing that UI design again and again. So now when we say UX designer, we often perceive UX design as a design process and UI design to be a part of that process. Why? Because without UI, UX doesn't really have any space, because UX was coined based on technology and interfaces, and UI is worthless without UX, because without the research, without ideation, without knowing who your audience is, UI design has no real value. It's like saying, we'll create a serious looking app for children. Of course not. You should know your audience, and only a UX design practice can help you understand that. So as a design thinking process, UX and UI are now combined into one thing that we call UX design. These two terms can be split, but we'll talk about that later on. So I was recently excited to get my hands on a new tool called Around. And when they reached out to me to sponsor the channel, I was ecstatic. Around is an application available on Windows, Mac, Linux, even on your browser, which allows you to create on Figma, plan on your documents, even play games while in these cool circular bubbles where you can show your face and your voice, but you're creating things. So the focus is on creation and work rather than on the video platform. What really stood out to me is that whenever you move your face from left to right or in any other direction like this, it follows your face using its AI technology. So next time your mom walks in from behind while you're in a video conference, you don't have to worry because it's only focusing on your face and on nothing else. I'm absolutely in love with the dashboard design. That dashboard is very simple to understand, unlike other competitors. I'm not going to name any. And they have a 1-minute demo that you can interact with this demo and see how Around works. They have quick integration with Slack as well as Google Calendar, so you will never have any problems setting up meetings with your teams. And not only that, they have a crazy good iPhone app as well as Android app. I was actually in a meeting with some of my teammates from my business, and they have things like GIF support, emoji support, animated emojis and icons that add life to your meetings. It's not only boring old you sitting on the chair. You can add reactions and GIFs, and it gets crazy sometimes. So go ahead, check Around out, give it a whirl, game, design, develop, whatever you like. Number 3 is degree versus self-taught. Okay, this is I need to fix this a little bit. Yep. Degree versus self-taught. What is degree versus self-taught? There are a lot of videos on this. A person with a design degree has a higher value in the industry or with the top rated companies as compared to someone who's learned it on himself, either on YouTube, just like you guys, or on other platforms like Coursera or whatever it might be. These people are self-taught designers. Even if we go even deeper, self-taught designers are people who've learned with experience and practice. That's the true self-taught designer. Now, a degree was very important. A few years back, most companies used to hire directly from institutes as well as colleges. However, now the space is changing a little bit. The space is going from degree and even self-taught experience to skill set. Now, a while back, a couple of my personal contacts got interviews with top companies because they created designs for those top companies, and those designs were seen by those top companies. So they just did some fun practice material with that company's brand, and they got an interview with them, which is crazy. Now, this cannot happen, of course, in every condition. However, there are many other ways that a self-taught designer or a designer without a degree can move forward. One such way is always a good reference. Most people don't understand this, but a good reference can really change the game when it comes to getting ahead in line. With all these piles of resumes, your resumes will be on top. A good way to do that is go to LinkedIn. If somebody has posted that they have a job opening, go to their design team's profiles or any designer's profile and message them. A cold message is never harmful. If he sees it, he sees it. If he doesn't, well, doesn't really matter that much, does it? Now, when we look at a degree versus self-taught, a degree is a little more valuable as of now. The equation hasn't happened completely, which means that it is still not equal. The value is still not equal in both of them, because you have to work a little harder as a self-taught designer when it comes to working on the job, gaining experience, moving up the ladder. Whereas degree will get you into the FANG companies, the top companies in the world, faster and easier. So self-taught and degree have both their advantages and disadvantages, but the value of degree and self-taught designer was this much earlier, but now it's slowly closing down, and that is the part of UX Design 2.0. Education is truly a part of a profession, isn't it? Number 4, we're going to focus on specialization. Let me just, perfect. So specialization is something that allows you to see whether you want, now specialization, as the name suggests, is essentially looking at an area, looking at an overall area, in this case UX design, and going deeper into it. This is where I said we can segregate UX and UI design. That somebody can be a specialist at UI design, and on the other hand, the other person might be a specialist at, say, UX research or UX design. Now, the split is coming in even deeper. What I mean by that, the wound is now even deeper. UX is now being split into all these portions. UX research, UX design in general, we have people there just for research, which is crazy. Research and documenting that research. On the other hand, under UI design, we now have things like visual design. We now have things like UI design, or information architect is also under UX UI design, that is also a discipline. So UX and UI designs are now broken down into disciplines. Why is this happening? UX design was a relatively new concept for the past 10 years. However, the industry has started to catch up, which means that every time an industry reaches a limit where they say, okay, now we have all the UX UI designers we need, now we need specialists to fine-tune even that. It seems tricky. It seems like it's opening new spaces up for designers, but it is the reality. Now, UX UI designers will have their own space, and specialized UX researchers, visual designers, interaction designers, information architects, all these people will now have their own space. This also uplifts certain niche areas like content writing or UX writing, which wasn't given as much importance earlier because a UX designer should know how to write UX, right? However, now people with specialized skills in content are coming into fields like UX writing, where it seems like they're only writing purchase now on a button, that's their only job, but not really. There's psychology that goes behind it, there's research and testing that goes behind it, which can mean a difference of millions of dollars if we're talking about sales on a website or on an application. Small text can mean a lot these days. Now, that is where specialization is helping. If we even move forward, we move on to something which kind of stems out of specialization, is bonus skills. Now, pardon me for writing this in Comic Sans, but I feel it's pretty comical that everything is now a mess. Look at this design that I've created. It kind of seems like a mess, isn't it? Bonus skills is when you're a UX designer or a UI designer, you also know interaction design. You are great at UX research as a UI designer. So if you're a UI designer and you have 10 different bonus skills that can help you add value to the company, which they now require because of need for specialization, you will definitely be in higher demand in the industry or even in your own job. For example, when I was working full-time as a UX UI designer, I was a specialized kid because I could do micro interactions like nobody else in the office, which means the things that I teach you here in Figma or XD, I could do that in a jiffy. I actually taught some of my colleagues at the time who weren't very familiar with things like Smart Animate, Auto Animate, Framer, Principle. So if you know added skills which are not required in your job profile, you will definitely be more in demand. You will climb the ladder faster and it will lead to a better environment as well. Because now there is competition, and with competition comes quality and comes this enraging thing of we just need to move forward, we need to gain skills, we need to learn more. And that will just help designers become better as well as provide better designers to the industry. Now, I haven't stated one thing which I always wanted to state to UX UI designers, the new field of no code. Yes, this is now a new field. I am not going to back off from that statement, no matter how much criticism I get. No code is a new field of a combination of design and development. If you can design well, you can develop well. It's as simple as that. Vice versa also works out. Now, if you're someone who loves both of the things, UX design, UI design, as well as coding and development on building your apps, this is the platform you need to be on. Again, not sponsored, by the way. nocode.tech is a very popular website. They, of course, have free courses and paid courses, tutorials and articles. But apart from that, most of these platforms like this will have a list of amazing no-code tools built for different purposes. In fact, let's go to LinkedIn and verify that no-code is a new kind of career path or skill set. Let's go to LinkedIn and check out the job portal. Here you go, LinkedIn jobs. If I go and quickly search here, no code. And in a second, see how many jobs are there. No code bubble developer, web designer, Webflow specifically, bubble.io developer, freelance bubble.io. Bubble is a very popular, has become a standard in creating, applications and websites and web apps. So a lot of these companies are approaching people to become full-time developers for their Bubble platform or for any other tool which is no code. There are Webflow as well. There is Editor X, I'm sure, will come into the picture. So a lot of these jobs will require no code. In fact, a lot of UI developers are now coming in with no code as a specialization. So no code has become a career in itself. And this just showcases the things that stem out of. Figma is a no code tool. Allows you to create UI designs and prototypes without any code. Yes, if you read that description, that is what it says. Magic? Anything new? No. But this is crazy how the job space is changing because of this. And you should understand that. I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead, give this thumbs up. Well, if you did like it a little too much, then go subscribe to the channel. I post such videos every Monday and Thursday without fail. So you'll get more content like this every week. I'll see you every week, same time, same place. Until next time, take care. God bless.